2024 has been a phenomenal year for Progress Wrestling, and today we are going to break it down. I'm Ben Allison, this is Allison Analysis, but today I'm joined by a very special guest because we have Ross Casey, the social media manager from Progress Wrestling, joining us as well. How are you, Ross?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, really looking forward to talking all things Progress Wrestling of 2024. It's been a hell of a year.
Absolutely, it has been. Right, let's kick things off then. I'm Ben Allison, this is Allison Analysis, and here are the 5 key findings from Progress Wrestling in 2024. In at number 5, Kid Lycos kicked off the year by doing the impossible. At the start of the year, Spike Trivet had just hit 500 days as Progress World Champion, and nobody thought his reign was going to end anytime soon. You see, towards the end of 2023, he defended his championship against Kid Lycos in a title versus mask match, and during that, and I was in attendance for it, absolutely everybody thought that Kid Lycos was going to win. Nobody actually thought that he was going to lose his mask, but heartbreakingly, he did. He came up short, and Spike Trivet retained the Progress World Championship to the shock of absolutely everybody. And going into 2024, the question was who's going to be the one to actually beat him for that championship. But then, to kick off 2024, Kid Lycos earned another shot. He had lost his mask, but he had not lost his hopes to get hold of that Progress World Championship, and he kicked off the year by doing so in what was one of my favorite moments of this year in all of wrestling. I mean, it was just such a feel-good moment when he held up that belt. He finally won it. He finally achieved his dreams. It was a hell of a story and just a brilliant way to kick off 2024 in Progress. And Kid Lycos, he finally managed to achieve his dreams and win that Progress World Championship. What did you think of that, Ross?
Yeah, so obviously something that Progress Wrestling is really known for in British wrestling is the narrative, as well as the great in-ring action. Progress Wrestling always have great tales to tell, and the Kid Lycos story was certainly one of them. I absolutely love the fact that obviously Lycos had to lose everything to gain what he wanted, having to lose the mask, hand over the mask, and tell his real name, where he was born, age that he was currently at, and then hand his mask to Spike Trivet. And then he said the epic words of, "You better not fuck this up," to Spike Trivet, which basically said, you know, this is my life that I've given you, and you better believe that I'm coming back to get that gold off you. And that is exactly what happened. And he had to fight tooth and nail for it, because straight after he lost that match, of course, they had the Thunder Bastard match, the very first show of 2024, and the great show that featured grizzled young veterans on that show, Mustafa Ali on that show, Harley Hudson made a debut on that show. It was a great start to the year, ending, of course, with Kid Lycos winning the Thunder Bastard match, which normally means that you can have the key, and you normally can, similar to a Money in the Bank briefcase, where you can cash it in at any time. You can unlock your key at any time, but Kid Lycos, being Kid Lycos, wanted to fight him like a man, named the time and place, and said that it's going to be in a cage match, which again put himself in danger, having seen exactly what Spike Trivet did to Cara Noir in the only previous cage match in Progress history, where Cara Noir wasn't able to wrestle again. I think 18 months was the time period, because of the broken foot that he suffered in that match, putting himself in that danger. He went into that match as the underdog still, which is something that is kind of his underdog story, isn't it? Kid Lycos, the size of him, he's not a man mountain of a wrestler, but he's got the heart of a lion. He calls himself the soul of Progress, and he proved himself to be the soul of Progress in that match. And what I also loved was that Spike Trivet claimed that his friendships were his weakness, and that he could kind of gain his positivity on the Kid Lycos drama by going for the likes of Kid Lycos 2, the likes of Big Damo, likes of Luke Jacobs at the time, likes of Dan Maloney, and his group, Dominators Rhanium, would terrorize them, and Kid Lycos would be having to choose between fighting for his friends or fighting for the title, and he would often choose his friends. But on this one, in the cage match where it was just one-on-one, Dominators Rhanium did get involved, as you would expect, but it was his friends that helped him out. It was the likes of Damo, the likes of man like Doris, the likes of who else was there on that day? I can't remember now exactly, but it was a group of almost like that great tale of, you know, it was the numbers game that was against me, but actually I've got more numbers than you in the end. And even though he had he had no real mask, the wolf mask anymore, he had the crimson mask. He fought through the blood, he fought through the numbers game, and he raised that gold. And it was a special, special moment. And if you were there in that electric ballroom at the time, I think it's something that you will remember for the rest of your life, because the atmosphere was amazing. It really came through on screen. I unfortunately wasn't there for that show, but I was watching live on Progress Demand Plus, and I was jumping around my room and having the best time.
It was just a hell of a moment. Easily one of my favorite moments this year. And like you said, when everybody was celebrating with him at the end as well, it was truly phenomenal. But now, time for number 4.
Yeah, so for me, number 4 is all the imports that Progress Wrestling have been getting across the line to come across to the UK for the fans and for people who are watching on Demand Plus. And they have had a huge list of imports, and brilliant ones at that. So let's take a look through who they've had in 2024. Okay, so let's take a quick look through the list of wrestlers who have come through the doors of Progress in 2024 alone. So we had Mustafa Ali, who had that incredible match with Leon Slater in January. We had Shigehiro Irie, had a brilliant match with Bullet. Of course, we had the reappearance of Yoichi, who was first introduced in 2023 as Yoshiki Inamura. And if you've been following NXT this year, you'll know that he has gone on to good and great things and appearing on NXT. We had him throughout the whole year, pretty much, of 2024. He had that incredible match in Philadelphia where he won the Atlas title against RKJ. Haven't seen that match? Go out of your way to watch that one. That was amazing. We had Alex Hammerstone of Impact and MLW fame. He came to Manchester to try and get that title off RKJ, and unfortunately for him, didn't manage to win it. And then we had this amazing event in the Dome in Tufnell Park, a venue that is much loved by Progress fans. It's got some huge history of big stars wrestling in a small venue, and that was no different. We had Wagner Jr., we had Del Mal from Mexico, we had Leo Rush, of course, having his match against Kid Lycos in arguably Kid Lycos' best match of his reign. And then, of course, it was headlined by Masato Tanaka, who is an absolute legend, ECW legend, Japanese legend, FMW. He had a match against Luke Jacobs in a match that is just a dream match, let's face it. Absolutely brilliant to have him on board in a match where it was his first British match, I think, for like 4 years. So it was a real special moment for Progress to have him. We've also, of course, had Bussy in Progress, 2 of the most charismatic wrestlers in the world, Ali Catch and Effie. Unfortunately, if you've been following GCW in 2024, you'll see that they've fallen out ever so slightly of late. But we had them when they were friends, and they were just brilliant fun. They had an incredible match in Philadelphia, really fun match against G-Money and Session Moth. If you haven't seen that one, and you're into your comedy wrestling, definitely check that one out. But we've also had the likes of Bringo Loco, Marcus Mathers, Homicide, Robert Dreisker, all from Europe and America. If you're into your WXW, Robert Dreisker, you'll know is a huge star there. Homicide, of course, what needs to be said about him? Absolutely incredible. TNA, Ring of Honor, one of the scariest wrestlers to ever step through the ropes. And he had a match against Robbo, who's arguably British's scariest wrestler. That was one to behold as well. Then that takes us through to Super Strong Style 16, which is our annual tournament, which is always known for having great imports on it. And we had Casey Navarro, who's now in TNA doing great things. We had Egil Blanc, who's just one of the best wrestlers in Europe right now. And then, of course, we had the big import, which was Shelton Benjamin, who's had an incredible 2024 himself. And arguably, Super Strong Style 16 was the weekend where he proved to himself that this isn't the end for Shelton Benjamin, and he's gone on to 8, and he's a big player there. And then we've also had Mike Santana, a Super Strong Style 16, And Mike D made his debut, who is a wrestler who I personally absolutely love. One of the best matches I saw this year was him and Axel having this title match. It was absolute banger. And then we had the fun of Danhausen coming to town to face Dean Money. Obviously, one of the most popular wrestlers in the world, Danhausen. His win-loss record might not be up to scratch, but people love him, and his match against Gene Money was brilliant fun. Then you had, of course, Lena Cross, who, if you don't know Lena Cross yet, I think come 2025 you will. She had an incredible match against Rhio, an Australian wrestler that's going across the world in Japan, doing great things. She is a star in the making. Also a star in the making, of course, is Zazoya, the Spanish god. He is a brilliant wrestler, and he debuted for us on All In Weekend in a brilliant triple threat match that you should go out your way to watch as well. And then, of course, we had the stars from Defy. We've had the men's champion Kenta come to the Electric Ballroom multiple times and show us that he's still got brilliant capability in the ring, and he's also got brilliant capability of cheating to win. We've seen that several times. And then, of course, their women's champion over in Defy is Marina Shafir, who is doing absolute bits in AEW right now. If you're watching AEW along with John Moxley, she had a brilliant triple threat match with Kanji and Nina Samuels, which I think you spoke about with Nina Samuels on your show, Ben, correct?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was a brilliant match. We loved having her, and fingers crossed she'll be back at some point in 2025. Then, of course, we went over to Germany. So we saw some stars from WXW again. We had Ares and Latigo. And then, of course, it was a tie-in with Noah as well. So we had Naomichi Marufuji have a match there against Axel Tischer, which was an absolutely brilliant match. We had Stephanie Mays try and get the women's title off of Rhio, which was unsuccessful, which everyone seems to be against Rhio in 2024. She's one of the best wrestlers in 2024 for a reason. And talking about titles, we also had Luke Jacobs versus Timothy Thatcher over in Germany, which was an absolutely brilliant match, a bit of a dream match as well. And that brings us to the end of the year, where we had Charlie Evans over in Manchester for Chapter 173. If you haven't seen that match, it was a first ever match for Progress Wrestling, where it was a singles match, a woman versus a man, first time ever singles match that we did something like that. And she proved that they are equals, and she's proved that going forward, there needs to be less barriers, because men and women are capable of fighting at the same time in pro wrestling. And that match was absolutely beautiful, a piece of art. If you haven't seen it, go out your way to watch it. And that ends with our trips to Brooklyn and Chicago, where we have the likes of Kevin Knight going up against Luke Jacobs, and Vert Vixen going up against Rhio. Two matches that were very, very closely fought and could well mean that there's some rematches on the horizon in 2025. So I think you can agree, Ben, that that's a hell of a list for imported wrestlers, and a good reason to go to future Progress shows, including Unboxing, which is on the 29th of December this year, with Vikingo making his UK debut in what is bound to be a banger.
Absolutely. I mean, there's two, great things about Import in Progress, I think. The first one is obviously the likes of Danhausen, Shelton Benjamin, Kenta. They bring more eyes to the fantastic wrestlers in Progress Wrestling. But the other side of it is you learn about people like Mike D, Lena Cross. I hadn't even heard of them before I saw them in Progress. And I saw them in Progress, and I was like, wow, I need to see more of them because they are incredible. So I really do think it's one of the most beautiful things about Progress, that, you can see people who, who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be there, but then also people you don't know and now you know about. And it's incredible to see. And of course, like, when we go back 5-10 years in Progress, a lot of those stars who made, one-off appearances and stuff in Progress ended up going on to become big stars in this industry. So you never know where they might end up.
Absolutely. And that's a big reason to get your ticket to Progress, because it's great to kind of see someone in a small venue and you're like, yeah, okay, that guy's a star, I need to follow them. And then a year later, you turn on your TV and they're like, oh, that's the guy that I saw in Camden. It's amazing.
In at number 3, Luke Jacobs became one of the hottest stars in professional wrestling in 2024. I first saw Luke Jacobs in 2023, late 2023, Vendetta, I believe it was, when I attended that Progress Wrestling event, and I thought to myself, this guy is incredible. He truly is. I believe he was facing Ricky Knight Jr., and I thought, hey, this guy's going to be something. He's going to be something really big in professional wrestling. But little did I know, 6 months later, this guy would be the top star in Progress. He started off 2024 by being in the Thunder Bastard match, and while in that one he didn't win it, he didn't go on to win it, he did come away from it with a lot of momentum, and he carried that momentum into Progress Wrestling's Super Strong Style 16 tournament, a tournament which personally I believe is the best tournament in British professional wrestling. 16 of the best wrestlers, 3 days, it's so much fun, and this year Luke Jacobs won it, earning a championship opportunity. He defeated Mike D, Kid Lycos 2, Eddie Dennis, and Ricky Knight Jr. to end up winning the tournament and earning himself a championship opportunity against the fan favorite Kid Lycos. And as this was quite early into Kid Lycos' reign, I don't think many people actually thought that Luke Jacobs was going to win. I kind of had a little bit of a feeling he might do, but I did not think he'd do it in the dominant way that he did. Honestly, it was just incredible. In 9 minutes, he defeated Kid Lycos. My jaw hit the ground when it happened. I did not expect it to happen, especially not that quickly, and Luke Jacobs became the Progress World Heavyweight Champion. And since then, Jacobs has retained his championship against Eddie Dennis, Timothy Thatcher, Man Like the Reese, and Leon Slater in banger after banger after banger. And honestly, I can't wait to see what 2025 holds for him, because he has all the potential in the world. He's still very, very young. He has a great look, and I honestly have no idea who will dethrone him for that Progress World Championship, because everybody who stepped up so far has gone on to lose, and he's won quite dominantly pretty much every single time.
Yeah, dominant is the correct term with Luke Jacobs, someone that threw away his friendship with Kid Lycos to get where he wanted to be, to the top. He's not here to make friends. He's here to hurt his friends, apparently. And he absolutely dominated the Super Strong Style 16 tournament. The final match against Ricky Knight Jr. was arguably the match of the year for Progress Wrestling. Absolute war between those two. I don't think that that's over. I think Ricky Knight Jr. is someone that wants to definitely prove that he can beat Luke Jacobs, and this time for the title. But he has been a dominant champion. As you say, Kid Lycos went into that match heartbroken, having lost his friendship, and he's someone that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's someone that has said that he probably let that kind of heartbreak get to him too much in that match, and he had too much riding on it, whereas Luke Jacobs was just sole focused on causing pain and harm to a former friend to get the title. And as you say, 9 minutes, absolutely destroyed him. Then the next month, Kid Lycos came back with a better mindset, had plenty of chances to try and win that match, and came very, very close on multiple occasions to win it back. But unfortunately for him, just couldn't quite do it. But it was a lot longer a match. It was almost like half an hour. It was an absolute battle. Yeah. Arguably, actually, I think that was Kid Lycos's, apart from the cage match, I think that was his best showing in a Progress ring in 2024. I think that he was incredible in that match. He's the closest, I think, one-on-one, I think he's closest to winning that title off him so far. Because unfortunately for for Man Like Reese and Leon Slater, Boisterous Behavior, who have been trying to get that title off Luke of late, we've had the introduction back of Ethan Allen, his Young Guns partner, for I think he was away for like almost 2 years, and he's back, and he's someone that can now look after the back of Luke Jacobs, which is the last thing that Progress Wrestling needed, because he's already a dominant champion, and now he's got someone to pull the referee out like he did in both of those matches. There's an argument to be made that potentially Man Like Reese and Leon Slater could be champion at this point if it wasn't for Ethan Allen. But there's starting to be a little. Is there starting to be a little bit of the chink in the armor of Luke Jacobs? Those two matches up against Luke and Man Like Reese, he wasn't as dominant as, say, in that first one where he was laser focused? Is there a case of that there's, because he's been champion now for over 150 days, is it getting to a point where he's becoming a little bit lax? We're not sure. But as you say, who's going to take it off him? We aren't sure either on our side, because he is a dominant champion and he carries himself like a champion. And he's, of course, someone that broke a record because he's the only champion at Progress to also hold the Rev Pro title at the same time. So that's another kind of record for him to be ticking off, and he's doing well over there as well. He's just someone that we adore as a wrestler. We don't like the tactics that he's currently using. He doesn't need to stoop to the levels that he has stooped of late. He proved against Kid Lycos that he can do it by himself. That's something that hopefully he changes from our point of view. But if it keeps that title on him, then he's going to do it, because that's what a champion does at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the introduction of Ethan, well, the return of Ethan, we had him on Sunday Night Spotlight a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't rule out the possibility of one day going after Luke Jacobs' championship. So I do wonder if potentially maybe that could be the crack, which could lead to a title change down the line, similar to how he screwed over Lycos.
That's the exciting thing about unboxing. Who knows? That could be the unboxing main event.
That would be incredible. Imagine that. Just like he screwed over Lycos, Alan could screw over him. And it's a circle, isn't it? It's a cycle, a vicious one. But talking about unboxing, you can watch it in one place, and that one place is Demand Progress Plus. You can use code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. And I say it all the time on the podcast, but it is true. It is such an easy to use streaming service. And a lot of streaming services nowadays, they're like clunky and stuff. Demand Progress genuinely isn't. It's so easy to use. There's so many great wrestling matches in the archives on there too. I mean, I always say it, I've got ADHD and I love to watch things like 1.5 times speed sometimes and stuff. You can do that on Demand Progress Plus. It's really functional and it's fantastic. And honestly, the unboxing is the mystery event. You don't know any of the matches ahead of time. You go into the show and you can just watch it happen live, and that is live on Demand Progress Plus. Once again, you can use code What'sProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus. Plus, the fact that the WWE Network is going now in the UK means you might have a little more cash in your pocket for other wrestling companies, and Demand Progress Plus would be a great choice for it, no doubt about it. Now let's move on to number 2.
Yeah, so number 2 for Progress Wrestling for the year is partnerships. We have partnered with the likes of Noah. We've partnered with the likes of Defy, of course. We've partnered with the likes of GCW moving forward as well. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire and working with other promotions. We've also got other promotions on Demand Progress Plus that we host there. Footage throughout the year, the likes of TNT. So it's something that we absolutely love. We think it's important in pro wrestling to have these partnerships rather than being fighting against other promotions. And it offers wrestlers the chance to go and wrestle in different places as well. We offer the visas for wrestlers to go wrestle in America, which we think is huge for their growth and the growth of the company as well. So that's something that we pride ourselves on, and it's something that we're really looking forward to doing more in 2025 as well.
Absolutely. I mean, a partnership you guys have with Defy, I think it is so exciting. And you guys are seeing the crossover events, Noah as well. It's been a blast to see in 2024. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for it in 2025. And like you said, the visa thing, that is huge. The fact that, so many British talents get the opportunity now to, potentially go over there. I remember when we had Nina Samuels on the podcast, she was talking about how I think she said she's never actually wrestled in America. And it was one time she was meant to before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. But, the possibility now of people being able to see her or similar wrestlers over in America for Defy or other promotions, that is so exciting.
It's exciting for us, and it's also exciting for the wrestlers, because the more that they wrestle out in other promotions, the more star power they're going to have, and the more star power they bring back to Progress. Progress, of course, wants to be as big as we possibly can. So it's not just about bringing in the imports that we spoke about in number 4. It's about making our homegrown stars, bigger stars as well. And that can't happen just in Britain. And it's important that we let them fly their wings out in different places. So that's something that we really, really pride ourselves on. And it's something that's come to fruition as well. Obviously, you've had Taishi Ozawa, someone that we had virtually for the whole year over here on excursion in the UK from Pro Wrestling Noah. And lo and behold, 2-3 months later, that Gene Money sent him packing, telling him that he wasn't his son. He's now main eventing the show on January 1st for Pro Wrestling Noah, going for the Noah Championship on a card that also features Shinsuke Nakamura. And who's main eventing? It's not Shinsuke Nakamura. It's Taishi Ozawa. It's someone that we've put the time and effort in on Progress Wrestling, made him wrestle in new places as well, had him wrestling in the likes of Germany as well. So yeah, it's something that we're really proud of, something that we really want to do more of, and the proof is in the pudding. Ozawa, main eventer.
Oh, it's awesome. I really do think one of the best things about 2024 and just wrestling as a whole is I feel like companies are like kind of helping each other out a bit more. Like everyone's lifting each other up. And I think it's incredible to see across the world. And it just the independent scene and just also wrestling as a whole with WWID now as well. Everything is starting to feel a bit more like everybody wants the industry to succeed. And that is hugely exciting for wrestlers, for promotions, for wrestling fans. It is brilliant.
Absolutely. Is there someone on the Progress roster that you would love to see go to the States? Obviously, Nina.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that Nina hasn't actually makes me think I'd love for that to happen and to finally, see her be able to wrestle out in America. That would be truly incredible.
Yeah, hopefully she can manage to maybe have a one-on-one match with Marina Shafir for that championship
Yeah.
that she actually didn't get back on Chapter 171.
Yeah, I said to her at the time, I said to her that her obsession with Can, she was going to cost her the title. She said it wouldn't. I think it did in the end, but one-on-one, she could have that opportunity, no doubt about it. And Marina Shafir would definitely have to be a little scared about that match. And in at number 1, 2024 was the year of Rhio in Progress Wrestling. Since winning the Progress Women's Championship last October, Rhio has been on the run of a lifetime. I don't think there's any single person in British professional wrestling who's consistently had as many great matches as she's had this year. As Progress Women's Champion, she's defended the belt 16 times in 2024. I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. She's an absolute workhorse, and every single match she delivers in. She's defeated the likes of Lizzie Evo, Kanji, Nina Samuels, Emerson Jane, Lena Cross, Zeta Steele, and Bert Vixen. And I have no doubt in my mind when I say this, I believe Rhio has been the best women's wrestler in the entirety of professional wrestling in 2024. I genuinely do, because she has just been working so incredibly hard. And again, every single match is a banger. It's a banger after banger, title defense after title defense. Some people make the title and sometimes the title makes the person. She has made that title more important than it ever has been because of how often she's been defending it. And honestly, I'm very, very confident when I say 2024 has been the year of Rhio in Progress Wrestling.
Yeah, Ben, we are so proud of Rhio in 2024. She's been incredible. She's been an ambassador for us. She's obviously got the accolades as well now. She was voted 25th best women's wrestler in the world by PWI, beating some huge stars to that accolade. And she's still so humble as well, which is something that I love. But I also have noticed of late that she is also getting a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, just based upon the fact that people think that she's a bit too nice, a bit too goody-goody. And that's seen a bit of a change of her in ring as well, I think, because she started to not just rely on that package power driver. It's a brilliant move, and it's something that's put away plenty of wrestlers. But of late, in that incredible main event that she had, her first ever Electric Ballroom main event against Lizzie Evo, that was an incredible match. Both wrestlers were fantastic in that match. But it wasn't the package power driver that put her away. It was the new submission move that she's been implementing, the Dragon Sleeper, something new for her. I don't know whether that's a case of her saying, that not only am I going to beat my wrestlers from now on, I'm going to make them pass out through pain, which is something new for her. And then also over in Chicago, her last defense of the title against Vert Vixen, the first ever Defy World Champion, obviously a very, very accomplished wrestler herself. She utilized the count out to win, which is something that I would say at the start of the year she probably wouldn't have done. But she's got to a point now where she thinks, I don't have to really prove how good I am anymore. The thing that I have to get is that record off Ginny, and I need to hold on to this title. So I think her her mind space has changed a little bit, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where she goes moving forward with that. Is she going to lean into that even more, or is she just getting over the record, and then she'll go back to being exactly the same Rhio that she was? So it's going to be very interesting. But yeah, she's been incredible. She's such a great person. She's such a great wrestler, and we love having her as our champion here at Progress Wrestling.
Yeah, I do think it's really, really smart what Rhio has done, making these small changes to her game, because it's really difficult in any sport, in anything, to stay on the top for so long. I mean, let's bring it to football for a second. Man City, they've had to adapt what they do every season. This year, they maybe didn't adapt enough, and hey, it's looking like it's costing them. Rhio knows this, and she's adapting her game constantly to stay on top. We're seeing her being more aggressive, like we saw in that match, of course, against Lisiero, the main event, which was just, it stole the show. It was phenomenal. So yeah, I do think she's changed her style, and I think that is just yet another reason why she is so good at what she does.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's someone that has vouched for the whole women's locker room. Often when I interview her for her interviews on the website, she mentions a lot that she thinks that Super Strong Style 16 2025 should be a woman's Super Strong Style 16 for the first time ever. And if that is the case, that's largely down to hard work that she has done in bringing up the rest of the wrestlers to her standard. And I don't think that people would be disappointed if that's something that did happen, personally.
I would personally absolutely love it if that does happen, because that women's division in Progress Wrestling right now is just on fire. The amount of competition in it is brilliant, and it truly is just it's so fun. But I don't know who's going to be the one to actually step up and take the title off of Rhio.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we've said many times on this video already, unboxing is around the corner. It could be a case where the thing that undoes her is the fact that she doesn't know who she's going to be up against. She's a student of the game. She makes sure that she knows her opponents inside and out. So that could give the opportunity to someone, if Rhio is booked on that show, that could be the reason that she loses that title.
That would be crazy, no doubt about it. Yeah, definitely check that out, guys, on Demand Progress Plus. Use code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off your first month. And if you're in London, if you're close to the Electric Ballroom, you need to go and check out that event, especially if you've not been to the Electric Ballroom for a wrestling show before, because the atmosphere in there, I mean, you can't compare it to anything else. You really can't. It's the place is on fire every single time. And there's such a, like, the Progress faithful almost feel like a family at times too. Like the amount of people who know each other and everything. It's honestly awesome. It's an experience I think everybody should do. A lot of people travel to London for Christmas time. So you might be, in and around London traveling. I highly recommend attending.
Absolutely, yeah. December 29th, Sunday. You already know that Vikingo is making his debut. It's something that we don't normally do, but as he couldn't make the previous show, we wanted people to know that he was going to be on this show. We didn't want the possibility of people not knowing that he was going to be there and having not bought a ticket. So, yeah, he's making his debut. If you've seen him on AEW, if you've seen his singles match against Kenny Omega, you know what he's capable of in that ring. Whoever it is that's going to face him, they're going to put on a show. And I can't wait for it personally to be there and to see it live, because it's special moments when you're able to say I was there, and to say that I was there at the UK debut of Vikingo. It's worth the price of the ticket alone.
Absolutely. I mean, that must be terrifying for the roster mind. The fact that just somebody knows they're going to turn up and they're going to find out, oh, I'm facing for Kingo today. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. And front row is sold out, and I'm fearing for everyone on the front row as well, with Vikingo jumping around the electric ballroom.
absolutely. They need to be able to jump out of their seats fast. That is for sure. But that does bring us to the end of the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. And thank you so much to Ross joining me here today. Make sure to watch Progress Wrestling and Unboxing on December 29th, and all of their past events on Demand Progress Plus as well. Hopefully, 2025 will be an even better year for Progress Wrestling, and personally, I am hyped for it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!